God. Madison, get the broom and sweep that up for me. I started my meeting.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Real.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good.
It's the answer that everybody gets. It's like, we're hanging in. We're still here.
Yeah, this is night 3 of CB meetings.
Oh boy. Okay. Yeah. For some reason, a lot of my meetings, unless we shifted evenings these days, like most evenings have meetings, it is not enjoyable.
Yeah, last night
Meetings every night. I mean,
we had the youth event starting at 5:30, and then we got out of that at 7:08, 7:15. ULIP began. So.
oh boy. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Youth sounded like was good though. I think Matthias told me.
Yeah, they did. It went very well. Very, very well.
That's great.
Madison, do you need help with that? Be careful with the scissors.
We're going to give it a few moments, okay, for folks to come on.
Good evening. How are you?
Hello.
I am trying to change my name. I am not at work, and everybody doesn't need to see that. So I'm not sure why I'm not able to rename myself right now.
I can change it. What do you need it to say?
I'm sorry.
I can change it for you. What do you need it to say?
Thank you so much. Just Melanie.
No worries.
Thank you so much.
Well, Leah, can you make me co-host so I can share a screen?
Or Melanie Lewis. I guess I can put my last name so everybody is aware of my full name. Melanie Lewis, Lewis.
Gotcha.
Thank you so much.
Real to make you co-host.
Thank you.
Sir.
Melanie, who's here? Nick is here. Let's see. Miss Randolph is here. Great.
Hi, everyone.
Naomi.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Lewis. Thanks. It's wonderful to be on Zoom, so I never either didn't know or never was able to figure out how to get a full gallery view on WebEx. I was never able to see everybody, so this is a lot better.
Yeah. Sticking with the shore Zoom. Know what you could do with that, right?
Yeah. We'll give it one more minute, okay? We'll get going. Let's see. Mia, are you able to change everybody's name so I can see who's in? Because I don't think people are able to change their own names.
Hey, Real, who needs to be changed or who has a request?
Actually, no, you know what? Because I haven't seen video before, so excuse me if I don't recognize you by your face. The screen skills arena.
How you doing? My name is Maurice Cummings. I'm a special assistant to council member Alika Ampry Samuel. And skills arena is not my professional name.
That's quite all right. Can you just repeat your name for me so I can take it down?
Maurice Cummings.
Hey, neighbor.
The council member Ampry Samuel's office.
Yeah, Maurice coming.
All right. So, I'm missing a few folks still. Just want to quickly check my email because I thought I heard, I think maybe somebody in the thread says something about not being able to make it. Yeah, okay. All right. I think that is it for the moment. I just want to check attendance, then go back to my notes from last week and make sure that we see who's somebody volunteered to take minutes, I think, last time. Let me go back to that.
That was I, Melanie.
Is that Melanie? All right. Are you in the document now, or are you?
I'm already writing down people's names.
Okay. Once you have them, you know, at the end, you can just send it to me, and I'll put everything in the documents in the shared document, so it's all in one place. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, quick roll call. Make sure that we know who's here. Riel, present. Lorianne is present, I see. Melanie is present. Dexter Roberts is not here yet, I believe. Ms. Randolph, present, great. Nick is, I saw him, did I see Nick? Yep, Nick's there, great. Mr. Almanor, and Naomi, great, thank you. And who did I not have yet? And then Mr. Cummings, I have noted you already as well. Okay.
I'm sorry, Naomi, can I have your last name?
Naomi Baptiste,
And Nick,
Almonor, Almonor.
thank you.
Okay, got it. Okay.
All right. So, I don't know how you feel. I guess I'll call this meeting to order. It is 7:09. Typically, we are scheduled until 8:30, but I don't know how you feel, but I feel like we just met yesterday, and November just kind of flew by, and here we are again, because we certainly came a lot faster than anticipated. That's of course because we postponed a week last time, and then Thanksgiving happened and all of that. I hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Hope everybody continues to hang in with everything that's going on in the world, and I hope everybody's getting excited or has something to look forward to in terms of their holiday celebrations. Let's get to it. So. I think as far as housekeeping goes, Mia, can you help me with this for 1 second? As far as minutes go, minutes to approve, I thought it would be better to work off officially distributed meeting minutes to approve, as opposed to the ones that's in the shared document. What do you think?
If it's easier for the committee, I can definitely just pull them out and then send them out and distribute them.
Yeah, so let's do that, and that means I don't think we have minutes to approve now. Then I think that's probably clearer. Sorry, Firefly's AI. I apologize. That's an automatic and a note taker that my account sounds onto. So ignore it. You can actually, Mia, you can feel free to kick Fireflies out.
Okay.
Yeah, because my computer automatically signs me into my work account, and it takes those for me.
Is it possible to push your speaker back a little? Because there's a lot of feedback coming on my end. I don't know if anyone else is experiencing it, but I'm hearing a lot of feedback.
Is this better, Lorianne?
No, it's okay.
Give me a second, because it's
That's better.
this better.
Yes.
It's because I have a second screen attached, and it always does that to me when I have a screen attached. Okay, no problem. That's good. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm just going to have to toggle a little bit between screens so I know what I'm talking about, but that is all right. Okay. For guests today, we have Mr. Cummings. Mr. Cummings, would you like to just participate in the meeting? Do you want to make an announcement and then go on with your life, or would you like to just to sit in? I know we're all very busy people, and if there's anything that you really want to share, then I'm happy to get that done for you at the beginning of the meeting and let you move on. But you're also welcome to stay with us and participate in the meeting.
I'm going to hang around and participate. I've been, well, hello to everyone, and who doesn't know me, my name is Maurice. I'm new to Alika's office, been there for about a month now. I've been assigned Community Board 9. I am not new to the political field. I left consulting to come back to city legislation. I used to work in the state legislature for Keith Wright in Harlem and for Congressman Rangel for a number of years. So I'm just tuning into everything that's CB9 to be able to get adequate report back to the council member and chime in and report any news if and when necessary. Thank you for having me. I look forward to being a part of some of the other meetings. Everyone's been amazing, very informative, and I never hesitate to chime in. So that's it.
Wonderful, and so typically on the agenda we have set aside time for officials and for public commentary. But since it's just you should just feel free to participate, and that's not a problem. I think when we make that call on a meeting by meeting basis, whether that's the appropriate thing to do. And since we're not quite trampled yet with guests at our meetings, so feel free to participate and chime in as you see fit. Okay.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, so let's just go through our agenda items. If anything, if anybody, well, first let me ask, does anybody have anything to add to the agenda as it was distributed by the CB9 office? Okay, so I'll go through it chronologically. Typically, I have the chairperson on topic report at the beginning. As I said at the top of the call, the November. I think November's kind of flown by, and has really it means that I haven't been able to do a whole lot as far as CB9 Education Committee goes. So I don't have a tremendous amount to report on, other than that I've been closely following the developments as far as they happen at the school level. Now, you may remember that last meeting we discussed identifying a number of topics for individual members to sign on to, as this kind of to make sure they acquaint themselves with and keep their ear to the ground on that specific topic. And so aside from a chairperson's report, which is going to be very brief, we can briefly talk through each one of those topics and see, one, if there's anything noteworthy developing at that level, and two, whether individual board committee members who have not yet assigned themselves to one of those topics would like to add their name to one. And then certainly if there's specific topics that we feel are worthwhile kind of keeping track of and keeping our ear to the ground for, then we can add those and have individual committee members commit to them as well. The first topic that we identified last meeting was the CEC 17 update. And again, I'm loath to admit that I have not been staying very close to CEC 17 and the latest developments in as far as schools go. Other than that, the schools, in case you haven't been following this, schools obviously open again this week for most of the grades and the lower grades at least. The move or the intention of the DOE appears to be that most schools will move towards a 5-day schedule, and I think much of that has to do with the fact that that enrollment is very low. If I'm sorry, I wish I would have distributed this, but I'll tell you about it. A report in the New York Times. Let me go to this. A report in the New York Times just a few days ago spoke about the uneven distribution and the in enrollment and in-person enrollment, for especially lower percentages of Black and brown children and higher percentages of white children choosing to go in person. And as a whole, it appears that the city has decided that enrollment in person is so low that they can largely move away, or for many schools, move away from a hybrid model and essentially have two groups. Have a group who is in the building and receives, quote unquote, regular education, and a group who is fully remote, and presumably then is fully remote for the rest of the year. That's an interesting development. I think personally, I find it hard to imagine that with everything that is going on and changing as far as possible vaccines coming out, whether the city can stick to its guns as far as having no more opt-in windows for families. Families have now been asked to choose. That deadline expired, I think, 2 weeks ago, to be either in building or remote, or for the handful, or for the schools who are still in a hybrid model, whether remote means in hybrid. But it's hard to imagine for me that that parents couldn't have no longer the option to reconsider that for the rest of the school year, and yet that is what the DOE at the moment seems to suggest. So that is as far as the only thing I have to say as far as the CEC 17 and kind of state of education goes. Does anybody want to chime in on any of that?
I'm sorry. I just wanted to say I'm still not hearing you as clearly. The issue we were having before. I'm sorry.
Is this Lorianne? I'm sorry, Lorianne. Is everybody else having the same issue?
That
It
wasn't
seems like your
Lorianne.
mic.
Oh, that
Oh,
wasn't
no, that
Lorianne.
was Melanie. It
Okay,
just seems like
so,
your mic is a little bit muffled. Maybe you may be a little bit too close to your screen, or it's providing some type of feedback or something. I'm not sure what it is. We can hear you, but it's a bit muffled.
Okay, if I lean back, is this
An
better?
echo.
Is it
It
better when I
has an
sit in
echo
this?
to it. It has an echo to it.
Yeah, it's just an echo. Maybe it's just your room.
Or maybe turn the volume down a little. That happens too.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
maybe. Let's try that out.
Turn the volume down
how about now?
when you
A little bit
finish a
better.
meeting.
A little bit better, okay.
No, you can't. Go in.
Wait,
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. This is Naomi Baptiste speaking. I know that the CEC has a calendar meeting on the 15th. So I would think that it would behoove all of us, because okay, because I will see you when you get there. I'm on their team. So I think it would be best if you come to a calendar meeting, and then any questions that you have about education, you can bring it up. I'll gladly, could you give me a minute, little boy? I will gladly give the information in the chat, or either email it to you, Mr. Real, or just have it on the email and distribute it to everybody.
I appreciate that. I'm on the email listing, but I appreciate the reminder, because the 15th actually was not on my calendar yet. So yes, thank you.
Oh yeah, so the 15th they'll be having a calendar meeting, and it'll be about the School Construction Association, I believe. And, anything else that you probably want to ask, you can ask away when you get there. So I'll send the information.
I appreciate that. Are there any other CEC updates, Naomi, that you can give us?
Oh, well, right now, so far we're just doing a lot of things to try to get some access to internet for all families. We wrote a proposal, and it's really going forward to have everyone to be able to have some type of access to the internet, not just in the form of having it in your home, but in your community, because depending on what community you live in, and we're just talking about District 17 for right now, is that your internet might suck. Excuse my language. It just sucks because of different things, no matter how much you pay for it. So we're trying to get into making it into, we found out that it's on a federal level. So we're trying to get some ideas and some information on how we can embed the internet quality in the community, because that's something that hasn't been addressed. You can have internet, but it's crappy. And now it's before it was a luxury, now it's a necessity for everybody. So since it's a necessity, we're trying to advocate to get this done for the kids, and also for the adult, for the adults, the parents, and everyone in the communities, and further it out to hopefully the 5 boroughs, where we can try to make this a big issue, so everybody can be equal in internet service.
Yep. And the proposal goes to who, if you don't mind?
I'm sorry, say that again.
You said the proposal is put together. The proposal is for who, to go to who?
No, the proposal, it's already, we had already presented it to the DOE. So now we're in talks. I just got word that we're in talks with the Public Advocate's Office. So the president of the CEC, she just made that mention. So we're just following up. So when we go to the calendar meeting, that will probably come out, or maybe after we're still working on it to get more information, because I don't want to say it's great, but when it's not. So it's still working on it.
Great. Thank you. Next topic that was listed was a library. Demetria, Mr. Robert, and Lorianne had added their names to that. Is there anything to discuss or mention there? And it's okay if it's not.
I just wanted to confirm, is Mr. Roberts here? Because I don't see.
I don't believe he is.
Okay, so we're going to give the books away at the toy drive at Medgar Evers College. So I just need to confirm the date for that. Also, I need to find out, is there a tablecloth? Does Community Board 9 have a tablecloth that we could use for the table that advertises that these books are being given away by Community Board 9?
Yes.
So is there a way I can pick that up?
Yes, I can definitely connect with you offline and schedule some time to meet you at the office.
Okay, so I just need to confirm the date with Mr. Roberts, and then everything is ready to go.
Okay, so we have it as an agenda item in just a moment, Demetria. That sounds great, and want to hear all the details and see what the committee members, how the committee members can participate as well. I see Ophelia. Is that, do I pronounce that correctly on the participant list?
Yes. Good evening. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to join this meeting today. It's a pleasure that to know that it actually it exists and that it occurs. I'm here tonight representing Kingsborough Community College, the Workforce Development and Strategic Partnership Division. I just wanted to share some services about a great opportunity that we have coming up in the new year. Just if you can give me, am I able to share my screen?
So do you? I'll afford you the same opportunity as Mr. Cummings if you want to share your information at the beginning. If you just bear with us a moment, I'll just put you on the spot in a moment, and you'll have an opportunity to do that, or you can just participate in the meeting and do it towards the end. I'll give you the choice.
Yes, actually, I'll definitely stick around for this.
Okay.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay. So can you just so it can be noted, your full name and affiliation, so it can be put in the minutes?
Yes, Ophelia, as it's spelled right here, and a last name, Asramon, and I'm representing Kingsborough Community College.
Great, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
The other three topics that we had assigned was a youth and education committee liaison that had no committee member attached to yet. Is there any committee member that likes to take that on as a task to liaise with the youth and education committee? Well, no, we're going to leave that open for a moment then, and we'll ask again in the future. We have some members missing today. A fourth topic is the Richardson Liaison Committee, also to be determined. Is there a committee member who wants to take on liaising with the Diana Richardson office on their education initiatives?
Juanita Randolph, I don't mind doing that one.
Mr. Randolph, that's great. I'll note that here. Mr. Randolph, the Richardson office had an education initiative, I want to say 2 or 3 years ago, and in the education committee in particular, but I don't think it's been very active anymore, but I think it'd be good to understand what they're doing now, and certainly it's good for them to know that there's a active education committee at CB9 again.
All right, that'll be fine.
And then there's a CB8 liaison, a topic that I added my name to. I have not been able to connect with Ms. Washburn yet. I believe it was Ms. Washburn at CB8. And so we've been emailing to find a time to meet. So I'll keep you posted once that happens. And then the final topic is an after school topic that I assigned my own name to. For those of you who are new, I'm the executive director of Trailblazer Camps. So we run after schools in a number of schools in the after school programs and summer camps, after schools in a number of schools in the district as well. So it's something that's near and dear to me. I've spoken to you before about the challenges that after school programs, after school providers have at the moment, both the publicly funded ones like Compass or Sonic or Empire or Advantage, as well as the privately funded ones. The city is at the moment still not relenting when it comes to the new policy that charges the after-school providers triple the typical permit rate. It's something that I've been actively addressing in the media and through various advocacy groups to get addressed. It took a little bit of a pause with the schools closing and having to wait what the next steps for the DOE would look like. Certainly, we intend, my organization intend, and I intend in my role at CB9 to continue to give make some noise around that issue because it is something that keeps a lot of after-school providers from being able to operate. And now many kids are able to, in fact, go back to school 5 days a week, being able to attach after school to the day and being able to extend the day. I'm not sure if any of you have currently kids in elementary schools. I currently do at PS 770. The day ends at 2 o'clock. That's barely a full day, and so it is an urgent item when it comes to providing kind of full day coverage for parents who have to work. And it is something that I think that I continue to bring attention to. I've reached out to a number of the local council members, including the office of Councilmember Ambry Samuel as well. I see Miss Adolphine joined. Thank you for joining. And I see Mr. Berg joined. Thank you, Second Chair. All right, those are the topics. Let's go to the next agenda item. The open action items will appear throughout the rest of the conversation, I think, so we don't need to address that separately. We had kind of glanced over and forgotten to do this last week, or last meeting, last November. We had started to talk about crafting a proper mission statement for this committee. Just as a reminder, and for those of you that are here for the first time, the Education and Library Committee, it's called the Education and Library Committee, that's what it's called in the CB9 bylaws. It used to be called just the Education Committee. The chairman has indicated that in the future, the Youth Committee and the Education Committee perhaps would merge, as they are merged in most community boards around us. It's fairly typical. At CB9, they've been separated for a while. The Youth Committee has been operating for the last couple of years and has done a lot. The Education Committee has not. So this is the first year that the Education Committee is up and running again. I think the intention was, and the suggestion had been made, that we should have a clear mission statement. And I would argue that a good mission statement is also something that the committee, whether it's with these members or this leadership or others, can carry forward in the next few years. And so having a clearly articulated mission statement would be a good thing. And I tried to, Khalid sent me the recording from October. I could not get it to work clearly enough to find a segment when we were talking about that. And so what I could cobble together was the following: the mission statement or charge, a collection of community members committed to providing advocacy and resources for parents, teachers, educators, and community schools. But more was said about that, and I wonder whether this suffices, or we should further elaborate on that. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. I'm actually going to share my screen for a moment so you can see that. Is everybody able to see my screen?
Yeah.
All right, well, I'd love to hear some thoughts. Mr. Roberts, thank you for joining. Yeah.
I don't know, can I say something or no? Or can I ask a question?
Yes, just identify yourself before you speak.
This is Ophelia, a new attendee. Just from the outside and looking in, a collection of community members committed to providing advocacy and resources. So is it just like basically education, advocacy, and resources, which is fine, but I think in between providing and advocacy, there needs to be a verb of some point, or something, an adjective, something.
Yep, okay. Committee members? I think in October, there were a number of people who had something to say about this.
Hello, I would like to make a suggestion if possible.
Please.
So if it's, my suggestion would be that our mission or state would be to provide advocacy, educational advocacy and resources for parents, teachers, and educators. Okay, CB9 Education Committee is committed to provide advocacy and resources to parents, teachers, and educators in community schools.
So is that Mr. Amaro?
Yeah, I'm saying CB9 Education communities is committed. So our charge is to provide the advocacy, but we're saying, and I think we'll be more specific than just a collection of committee members. Let's identify ourselves. The CB9 Education Committee is committed to provide advocacy resources to parents, teachers, and educators in the community school.
We can keep redrafting. We can as thoughts come in.
Question, since library is included now with the education committee, should you also say something about the library in your statement? You say
Permit me.
Education and library committee provides education advocacy. Since you said the library must be included now.
Yeah, yeah, you're correct. And my understanding is that the library is included because considered an educational resource, right?
Also used as a resource. So it's be part of the resource as opposed to saying it as such.
Well, I mean, certainly we need to use it in a name, but I don't think we have quite figured out yet how to address the library portion of the committee.
Oh, okay.
Other than, go ahead.
It looked pretty well. I got that she made the comment of the word library. But if you didn't use the word library because you have the word resource, it would have actually stood well. And so far, this looked pretty well because a mission statement should be no more than 25 words and you have less than 20. So I think that you are perfect.
Okay. Sorry, could you identify what you, I'm sorry, who was speaking so we can record properly?
Dexter, sorry.
Dexter, sorry, Dexter. How are you? Good. I'm still getting used to everybody's voices. Okay. Anybody else, any other comments? So it's simplified. CB9 Education Library Committee provides educational advocacy and resources for parents, teachers, educators, and CB9 community schools.
You took away the word committed. I would say is committed to provide. So that's our charge. We have a commitment to provide educational advocacy and resources to parents, teachers, educators, and the CB9 community schools.
Yep. Okay. Any other comments or thoughts? Okay, if there's no additional comments, before we sign off on this, I just want to address another piece of the work of the committee. I think Ms. Adolphine, you had addressed this during the first meeting, that we ought to have some conversation around what the decision-making process looks like for this committee, how we internally agree on the decision-making. I thought about that a little bit and have some thoughts, but is there anything you can say to speak to that?
I'm sorry, did you say Naomi?
No, it's at Ms. Adolphine. I'm not sure she's still on. Is she still on? She was on. Yes, she is. Dr. Adolphine.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Hello.
This is Dr. Adolphine. So can you hear me?
Yes.
Right. So basically, I just said that it's important to have some sort of decision making to decide how we're going to make decisions, whether we're going to make decisions by consensus or
Correct.
whether we're going to make decisions by having a certain number of votes, just to have a particular process. So we are sure that everybody has input.
Agreed. Does anybody want to chime in on that? What they view the best processes for decision making in this group?
Since we're not really a very large group, I like consensus.
Anybody else? Because this would be the first decision, I suppose.
Before we make a decision, is it too late to offer a suggestion?
Not.
I'm just looking at the words committed and, sorry, I hear some feedback. Committed and committee. So instead of is committed to provide educational advocacy, maybe we can use something like is to encourage, like our purpose is to encourage and facilitate.
So, if I can just put a pin in for just a moment, so we can wrap up with what the kind of decision-making process the group would like to follow, and then we'll get back to finalizing the mission statement and then deciding on it. And so it's not too late for suggestions. Are there any other thoughts on decision making? And so my personal 2 cents is absolutely consensus. And in the case we can't find consensus, we vote.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Right.
Oops. Yikes.
Any other committee members that can chime in on that? This is the first, so do we have consensus on whether we decide by consensus?
Yes. I mean, what you said sounds good. The majority, and if there's no majority, then we vote.
Right. Consensus for us to try to come to some consensus, as you said, and if that doesn't work, then there is a vote.
I have a question. My question would be, do you need to set a certain number in order to have consensus? Suppose there are only 5 people on the meeting at that time. Can you still have consensus? Or do we need to start out with a certain number based on, the average number that comes to a meeting?
I think the consensus would depend on how the discussion is going. Like if you're having a discussion about something, I think that might depend on the actual discussion itself.
What do you have to decide though, prior to the discussion that whatever the discussion is, unless you're dealing with finances comes out differently.
You mean like if you have 2/3 or something like that?
Usually you would have like a meeting or making a decision, you would need a certain number of people there to carry forth that decision.
That's right.
Or you mean like all members of the committee has to be present in order for a decision to be made?
No, I'm not saying all members, but they have to be present.
A certain number.
A certain number of the members must be present.
Yeah.
In order to make that
You might have the mayors have a quorum. You know what, I'm fuzzy. I looked at the bylaws for CB9, but I'm assuming quorum is half plus 1 at the CB9. Is that correct? I'm not sure Mia's on. Still.
Hi, this is Khalid. Mia is available. She might be away from the computer, but yes, that is correct. Quorum would consist of half plus 1. When it comes to committees, for the available committee members, that would include the board member committee members and the community resident committee members. If at least half plus 1 are available during any committee meeting, you can vote on an item for the executive committee and the general board to consider.
And Ms. Randolph, I would agree that even consensus requires a quorum. And really without a quorum, you can't really do business.
Correct. You would need a quorum in order to cast a vote on an item, correct. I mean, other business, you can of course discuss items and plan, but when it comes to voting on a matter, you must have quorum. Or it's recommended you have quorum.
But certain things, we're also talking about decision making about how we approach an event. Right? That doesn't necessarily, it's not necessarily an official vote, but when it's a consensus item, even there, the consensus should be made by quorum. So we don't have a meeting with 2 people who have a consensus on something and then moves forward on something that the committee hasn't had an opportunity to chime in on.
Yes, correct.
All right.
So I think generally quorum is required. Quorum is required for consensus building as well. Okay. When consensus is not present, we vote on any matters in front of us, whether they are recommendations to the larger board or more serious matters, or just even smaller the direction matters. We can decide on a vote if that helps us choose a direction if we can't find consensus.
Okay. Thank you.
Do we have consensus on this item? So I think in this case, anybody can say, I suggest we take a vote on this, correct?
Yeah, I don't think we're at that level yet. There are some people that put some things in the chat. I'm not sure if you can see the chat. But there's some, far as suggestions for the mission statement.
No, correct. I'm just saying, do we have a consensus on this approach? Consensus building first, then vote.
I believe we do.
Right, because deciding on the decision-making process would help us to decide
Correct.
on the actual mission.
Right. So my question was, do we have consensus on the decision-making process? The decision-making process being
Yes.
we decide by consensus, and if we cannot, we take a vote. All of that is subject to quorum.
I agree.
Okay.
Beverly agrees as well.
I agree too.
It appears, and again, if you are not in consensus, then you can indicate that you think you'd like to have a vote. That doesn't seem to be the case here. And this would apply to committee members, right? All right. So now let's return to our, Beverly, you had some suggestions about the mission statement of charge.
Thank you. Sorry for being late. I have a question. When I was coming in, I thought I heard you discussing youth committee combining or joining, merging with education and library.
Chairman Baptiste has indicated that perhaps that is something that he would like to see happen in the future. That is not the case now. The current bylaws separate the youth and the education committee. So, and that means that it makes a lot of sense for us to define more clearly what the charter of this committee is.
Okay, thank you.
What suggestions did you have for the mission statement?
My suggestions were contingent upon that. And I do agree. The person who said, I do agree with the committed part. Sorry.
Committee is committed in artful.
I'm sorry.
So the wording committee is committed, perhaps a little clunky.
Yes.
Does anybody have a suggestion for rewording?
Is it possible we table this till the next meeting so we can all think about possible suggestions, or does everyone want to decide tonight on this? Because I have to go in about 10 minutes.
I am perfectly happy with moving this forward. I think, again, this is something that has to outlive this year, right? So I think it's perfectly, in my opinion, perfectly fine to table this and make sure that we really get it right.
Are we still going to be working on the projects we discussed at the last meeting?
That's up next.
Okay, sorry.
Yep.
I'm sorry, this is Melanie. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I believe the last suggestion, we should probably make sure we have the last suggestion in to make, so everybody know what the last thing is that we have. And I believe that's the CB9 Education and Library Committee is committed to providing educational advocacy and resources to parents, teachers, educators, and CB9 community schools.
Correct. Yeah, that's the way I have it as well. I throw it in the chat as well.
May I make a suggestion here? In terms of preparing for the next meeting, perhaps one of the things that could be considered is to have everybody submit, if you have something different, submit what you think the mission should be. Everybody does that and just send it to a Google document. So everybody has access to it and everybody can review it. And so that when we actually come to the meeting next time, then, it can actually proceed much faster. Right. So whatever you think the mission should be, whatever changes, it's, I'm just suggesting that you resubmit it to a document that everybody can review it before we actually meet. And perhaps there's something that we might want to consider doing, reviewing things before we meet so that things could be expedited a little bit faster.
I would be okay with that, committee members.
I agree.
Agree.
I agree. Should there be a deadline set as to when we should submit our suggestions by? This is Lorianne.
Agree.
I agree.
By next meeting, we'll get I'll work with Melody to get the minutes and the next agenda out. But the the shared document exists already, and so we can just indicate the location there for the kind of work area for folks to put their suggestions in, and that should be done by I'd say a day before the next meeting, so everybody has an opportunity to look at it.
No, the traditionally during meetings, minutes are approved during the the minutes from next month we would have approved the prior minutes, and I guess if we have anything upcoming,
the minutes will just be distributed. You're correct. We discussed at the top of the meeting that Mia will distribute individual meetings separately, so we have clean minutes to review, and that process hadn't been clarified yet. So by next meeting, we'll be able to approve minutes for the October, November, December meeting, and then get on a regular track to approve them every month. I'm okay with tabling this and moving on to and getting a Word document ready for everybody to chime in on making further improvements to the mission statement. Agreed?
I agree.
Okay. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Let's move on to discussing our projects that we had scheduled. The first one is Demetria and our book giveaway. So it is all yours.
Okay, so I think we're just pretty much ready to go. I need to confirm with Dexter Roberts as to the date of the toy drive, because we want to give away the books at Medgar Evers College at the toy drive. I just don't know the date and the time, so I need the information on that. And I need, and we already talked about getting a tablecloth for the setup. So that's what I need to confirm, that information.
Hey, Dexter's right here. How you doing?
Hi, Mr. Roberts. How are you?
Great. Good night. I didn't have your number to call you within the week. Yes. So what has happened? We had also canceled the actual event because of the COVID situation and public safety event on the campus itself. So we would have to look at a plan B, because prior to this whole new COVID rules that came in, so the campus, the college, we had started open back out, and now they actually closed because public safety is complaining that they just want to have 1,000 people from off the streets on the campus now, and so that becomes a setback. So we have to actually cancel our whole program itself.
Okay, so we need to look for...
I was thinking we can have probably look at plan B, which is probably see if we can get a space in Evansville if you wanted there, or probably do something on the sidewalk on Nostrand and Empire Boulevard. Or we could, there's always alternatives we could always do too. But I just know how you guys feel about the COVID situation and being in the whole interface of the public, etc.
Okay, so we need to think about another location.
Yes.
So have a date been decided?
No. We were actually planning to do it which would have been like next week, Monday at the college. But because of the whole COVID situation, the dean, and he was okay with it, but public safety persons who had the setback that they would have completed the whole setup, even though campus, had it in the campus sometime.
So you're looking in the next two weeks? I can't understand you. That's why if I'm repeating you, I'm sorry.
As close to Christmas as possible.
Okay, so may I suggest Evansville is having a holiday flea market on the 19th. Okay. We have our patio. That's the scope of the property. It comes one floor off of the street level, and the date's already set. If you're willing to join, that would make it that much better. And it's outside.
Okay, how do I contact you?
How you doing?
Does everyone agree with using, with having the book giveaway at the patio flea market at Ebbets Fields? Does everyone agree with that?
I think that's a great idea.
Yes, I think it's a great idea.
I can send you pictures of the property.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's a nice place. You have like it's just up, and if you come from the back, you can come straight onto the patio. It's very nice.
And it's handicap accessible.
Yes.
Okay.
What date is it, Beverly?
I'm sorry?
What date?
The 19th of December. It's weekend after this coming.
Friday. That's a Friday.
Is that too soon?
No, what time?
That's a Saturday.
It's a Saturday, yes. Is that okay?
Yes. What is the time?
10 to 4.
How do I reach out to you after this meeting?
Email or telephone.
Okay. Can you put your information in
Beverly's email is also in the document, or you can throw it in the chat, Beverly.
Okay, will do.
Thank you.
Dimitri, what do you need from the committee? What can committee members do for this event?
I'm sorry?
We have all the books. We have bookmarks and everything lined up. We do need the tablecloth, and Mia says she's going to help me with that. So I just, we have Lorianne. So I just would need for Lorianne to be there to help give out the books. I did purchase some bags to put the books in, and I'm going to print a reading list and a book log for the children. They can use that. And maybe some other information that we can put inside the bag to give out to the children when they come to get the books.
I can send you our flyer.
I can come and help you too.
Okay.
Okay, what time do you need me to be there? This is Lorianne.
It's from 10 to 4 p.m. So I would say at 9 so we can
9.
set up.
Okay, I'll shoot you an email, okay?
Okay, all right.
All right. I have to go, guys, but I will definitely shoot you an email. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you. Beverly, if you can share the details of the day with Dimitra, with the committee. Dimitra, I'm available that day as well, and I'd love to help.
Okay, sure. We're just going to need help with setting up the area, the table, and separating the books by level, put them into the bag so that when the children, when they come to pick up the books, we give them age-appropriate materials.
I'll help out with
The
that.
high schools, children,
Is there a way to perhaps, Beverly as well, perhaps have some kind of way to make sure we distribute them evenly and fairly? Like, perhaps when you enter the market, you get a ticket to pick up your free book or something like that?
I do have tickets here. We can do that. I have.
That's a good idea. I'm not sure whether that makes sense.
I bought little shopping bags for the table to put all of the information in and to separate the elementary level, the middle school level, and the high school level books. So that when they come, we can just hand it to them. We know what their age level, they get the right books, and
So it's a book per child?
Quickly, if you don't mind if I chime in real,
help
it's Mia.
separating the books and setting up the area. That shouldn't take more than 1 hour.
Are tables going to be supplied, or do you need to borrow the CB9 tables for that day?
We do need a table. Well, at Ebbets Field, do they have tables?
We do, but right now they're being allotted for the flea market.
Okay, so we need a table and a tablecloth that says CB9.
Yeah. Okay.
We're also
compile
just
your
heads
list,
up.
you can just shoot me over an email just so that all of that can be prepped.
Okay, thank you.
Anything festive we want to add? Candy canes? Anything for fun?
I don't have any candy canes, but I can get some. I can get some candy canes to put into the bag with the books. We have bookmarks.
Let's see if you got those for us, Mia.
I'm sorry, it's a little bit muffled.
I'm sorry, what did you say, Real?
Like at CB9, get candy canes?
We we can't, but I'll be happy to donate personally, to be honest.
I am as well. I will as well.
We can't at this point, CB9. We're not in a position to do that, but I'll gladly donate personally.
Demetria, how many
I'm sorry?
how many do we need, you think?
Well, we have a ton of books already at Board 9 in the office in the back. I think we have about 400 books.
Oh, wow.
So I was hoping to put at least 3 books in a bag. At least 3 books in a bag with the bookmarks, the reading log, and all of the literacy information and any other flyers we have into the bags. I would say probably half of the amount of books. Probably 100 probably will be good. At least 100, because we'll give away at least 100 bags.
Okay. And one on one is fine. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Well, Demetria, we, the committee members are at your behest. So, if you can send out an instructional email, people can indicate you can indicate what you need, and people can indicate what their availability is. I'm certainly available that day. And I would love to be present and help out.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll help set up for sure.
Thank you.
Is there anything else we need to discuss about the first event by CB9, the CB9 Education Committee?
Is there anything we need to do regarding social distance?
I was going to bring that up because right now our flea market is mask required for vendors and participants and contactless purchasing. I don't know if you have any components where I know attendees that part, and we're going to also try to have some masks available for those who attend without one.
Please forgive me. You said mask and what else did you say?
We're going to be for the flea market part, and I'm assuming since we're sharing the same environment, it'll be for your event as well. Masks are required. So, and we'll be engaging in contactless payment. So there'll be QR codes everywhere. So if there are individuals who come to the event without a mask, we'll try to have extra available depending on how many you come.
Awesome. Thank you.
Right.
So we're hoping everybody comes, but
I'm suggesting that I get some hand sanitizer in the tables.
Yes, we have hand sanitizer.
Okay, great.
Just very quickly, do you guys think you should come up with your own individual flyer for this? That the CB can kind of blast out to the listserv, post on social media?
Are you talking to me, Mia?
No, committee at large.
Okay.
You guys think about putting together your own flyer?
Yes, we also next item on the agenda, subcommittee, social media and promotion. That is, I agree. Obviously it's kind of a short window, but we probably should try to do some promoting. While we have you, Mia, what are the rules on social, like an Instagram or social media channel? I know the youth committee has their own channel. Does CB9 have their own channel?
The board has its own Instagram, but that is something that we're all exploring, and I would actually encourage for the individual committees to create their own accounts so that the regular the CB account can repost, allows us to expand the network, but also for you to post things that are specific to your committee. And it doesn't get lost in the CB's posting of agendas and everything else. I think it's important that you guys create your own space. And
so we can do Instagram channel, Is that the main one? Or what is done by other committees? I mean, youth committee has their own Instagram channel. Does anybody else do anything else?
No one else has explored that option yet. The youth committee was the first to jump out, just figuring that social media would be the most appropriate way to engage the youth. So that's why they chose that avenue. But just because, you know, of the pandemic, people are more prone to be online and accessing information from social media. This would be a great opportunity for you guys.
I agree. Mr. Roberts, do you have any, you had added your name to the subcommittee for social media and outreach? Do you have anything to add to this?
Yes, sir. You did ask me, and I told you yes, I would help.
So one of our questions to resolve, and so which we just did, was whether we can, in fact, get our own Instagram channel started. So we should. Then, Mia, does the office set it up? Do we set it up? Do we give you the credentials? What's the way this usually works?
As it's done, youth, they've created their own handle. They have access to the login, and they've assigned a committee member to do the posting.
Okay, thank you. So I would reach out to you, get into it.
Yes. And what I would then do is anything that's education related that comes into the CB event or flyer, I would kick it over to you so that you can get it posted on your social media.
That's great.
Okay, great. Thank you.
That's fantastic. Okay. Yeah, Mr. Roberts, let me know if you are able to get an Instagram channel started.
Yes, I would be able to do so. So I would actually meet up with probably the week I will go up to the office and meet up with Mia, and we can discuss the login, passwords, and those kind of stuff for it, and you know, and how the approval and for flyers and whatever you all want to get on social media.
Got it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to message you, Mr. Roberts, just so that
thank you so much.
We can schedule time to meet.
All right, great.
The youth committee handle is, I think, CB9 Youth, and so we can go with whatever we think is snazzy enough, but we can just keep it simple. CB9 Education or anything, or Educational Library. I'm not sure if you are allowed to use symbols in your Instagram app. Somebody's very loud. It's okay. There you go. Okay. If anybody who has flyer skills and wants to put them to the test for this first event?
I can try to create a flyer and send a draft to everyone for an approval.
That'd be great. And obviously, the quicker we can get this up on Instagram, the better. And then I can also just push it out to our school contacts and all networks to see if we can start generating, actually get some followers on that channel. That takes a little bit of work.
I'm sorry, I just want to ask Mia, do we happen to already have a Canva account for the
You said Canva, Melanie?
Yeah, do we already have a Canva for the office that we could use?
For flyer making, you mean?
Yeah.
Flyer? Do we have like a flyer draft or a standard? Is that what you're saying?
No, it's also about Canva. It's a service.
I can't hear you.
Canva?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Melanie.
I'm sorry. No, I was just asking if we already have Canva as a service.
Oh, Canvas. Oh, no, we do not.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess we'll probably. Well, you're gonna meet with Dexter, so y'all will figure all that.
We'll hash it out, definitely.
Okay. Well, we'll leave it to Dimitri and Dexter to get this up and running. Sooner is better in this case, right? We're looking at December 19th for the book giveaway. So the sooner we can try to get an Instagram channel with some followers on it, the better. I would say, I don't know how many folks in this committee in this call are on Instagram. You know, that should give us a first 5 to 10 followers, no?
Definitely. Definitely. And I would just also urge everyone from youth services
That's right.
Have them post to follow Education Library as well.
That's right. That's right. So, and if you are in Toronto and you do not follow CB9 Youth yet, then that's a good first step as well. So, Mia, correct me if I'm wrong. I think that handle is CB9 Youth, right?
It's, hold on, I'll tell you right now. Sorry. CB9. CB9.
I put in the
CB9
chat.
Youth Services.
CB9 Youth Services?
Yeah, hold on. I'm just making sure. I believe so.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
I seen like from the last meeting, there was some documents sent in regards to most of the school construction that was going on for the schools within Community Board 9. And I also seen that there were some things in regards to the youth and welfare. There wasn't anything there. So are we going to discuss that part?
I think you're referring to the budget information that was loaded into the document. Is that correct?
No, not the budget yes, the budget information on the bottom, it had said youth and child welfare, and they didn't have anything there.
No, I mean, we can certainly add that as a calendar item. We haven't discussed it because the timing at the time was, we didn't have a September meeting. By the time our October meeting came around, we were already a week or two out from having to put those suggestions in. So I think some people gave their suggestions via the document and they were added to whatever CB9 submitted. But if there's specific topics that you'd like to see added to the agenda, absolutely.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're saying the child welfare, that portion, is that something you want to discuss?
Yes, the wealth. Okay, and also I know I know that upcoming, because do we also deal, this is just a question for me, do we also deal with Title I for the schools?
We can, education related, so certainly a topic, absolutely.
Oh, okay, because I know that there are for District 17, there are 2 meetings coming up. So I'll send the flyer for that in regards, so everyone can be on the same page regarding discussing Title I funds for the school.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much, and I'd be interested in participating in those. Okay, so so we discussed social media. We are done with the book giveaway. Demetrius, thank you so much for getting us started. You're responsible for the first Education Library event in many years, so that's great.
You're welcome.
So we have a number of other projects that we had put on the calendar, and I think what I'd like to do is just quickly mention them, but then perhaps just go to a public comment and give our guests an opportunity to speak and present. I think January is probably a time for us to start planning out those events and projects, and I'm trying to put my finger on it for a second. 1 second, please. Where did I put them? Yes. So we had listed the December for the book giveaway. Then we had said February tentative and to be determined a specialized high school info session. I think somebody mentioned in the chat today as well. We had mentioned for April, perhaps to organize a spelling bee. And so those are 2 additional projects, and then other to be determined. And so I think we can probably wait to January to start organizing the specialized high school admission test info session, as well as consider other projects. Does that seem reasonable?
Yeah, that's great because I reached out to them and, everything is pushed back. Everything is pushed back right now as far as specialized high schools, deadlines and all of that. So January would probably be good.
To start planning, you mean, Melanie?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's great. And April spelling bee, we obviously have a lot of time, but I can tell you, I'm very excited about that. Good, so let's go to the public portion of the meeting. We have, again, with us, Mr. Cummings from Councilmember Ampry with us. And we had Ophelia, and I'm blanking on your last name for a second, but I'm reading your first name off the screen. So let's start with handing the screen over to Mr. Cummings.
I'm sorry. I was blanked out for a minute. What am I doing right now?
If you have any kind of particular things you want to talk about or present from this from Councilmember Ampry-Santo's office, then this would be the time to do so. Or if you are just enjoying, you're here for the ride, and you can continue to stay with us.
Oh, I don't have anything immediately to offer. I was definitely taking notes, and I live down the block from Ebbetsfield. I was going to drop a note if you guys need some additional PPE. We have a plethora of hand sanitizers and masks. I can drop it off to the office or get it to my neighbor, Mia, to be able
Do you have the 2-ounce ones?
We got the little shorties, yes. The little short
Yes.
ones. The little spray bottles. I can definitely
Perfect, thank you.
Absolutely. Definitely provide and contribute to the patio book fair. And it sounds like an amazing event. I look forward to attending on the 19th. I'll get that stuff to you guys prior to, so you have ample supply. You never have enough hand sanitizer or face masks. We encourage people to wear them, especially on the patio. I have family in Ebbetsfield. I often walk across the patio, and I'd say 7 out of 10 folk do not have on masks. So I strongly encourage you to have a large supply and just hand them out. Thank you.
Just so you know, though, they don't have a mask on, but we have a mask giveaway every month. So that's a choice they're making.
Again, just try to encourage. I hear you.
We're trying. No, we appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. Ophelia?
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Great meeting. Again, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm not going to hold you guys very long or long at all, but I just wanted to introduce an opportunity that's coming up in spring 2021. I'm going to just quickly share my screen. I have host disabled participant screening.
Mia, can you let Ophelia screen share?
And while the administrator is at it, I'm going to just drop the link in the chat as well. Hopefully you can click on the link. If not, I will plug it in directly. So, all right, I'm going to just kind of talk about the program. So most of you are probably familiar with Job Corps, the residential, academic, and career training program that many of us have either heard about or attended, especially during the 90s and the early 2000s. The Department of Labor has recently decided to partner with educational institutions, so accredited educational institutions across the United States, where our young adults, 18 to 24, can actually receive free career, technical, and trade certifications, as well as personal and career counseling. So instead of going away to a residential center, maybe upstate New York or Delaware or across the country, as most Job Corps participants have in the past, now the DOL has partnered with CUNY. Actually, Kingsborough was the only one that was actually awarded the grant in New York State. But there are a couple of colleges across the country where about 40 young adults for the spring 2021 will be awarded with that opportunity. So I'm going to put the site in. I'll try to see if I can share the screen, share my screen now. No, it's still disabled. I'll plug it in the chat. And I'd just like you guys to definitely pass the information along to the young adults in your life, maybe at your church, your mosque, your educational institution. If you are eligible, you can actually receive a free certification in healthcare, phlebotomy, CNA, welding, construction project management, accounting, technology, as well as job placement, as well as social services help. So I just wanted to communicate that and let you guys know that upcoming info sessions will arrive. And we just look forward to this information being disseminated. So I'm still unable to share my screen. I'm just going to drop the information in the chat and you can go to the landing page when you have an opportunity and fill out the information for upcoming
Great, and the Level opportunities of flyers that again we'll get our social media game in order so we can start pushing out information for you as well. You can always send those things over to the CB9 office, and we'll make sure they get in the right channel.
Okay, I just put the link in, and I'll drop the flyer in as well, so that way you can have it for yourselves. Okay, and thank you again.
That's great. Thank you so much for joining. Please come again.
I will. Thank you.
Is there anybody else who, not committee members, any other guests that I hadn't identified before that wants to speak? I see a 718 number ending in 2103 that I don't think I've identified yet. Somebody dialing in, number ending in 2103.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Riel. That's Beverly. That's me.
Okay. Yep. You come up as Ebbets Field tenants. You're on twice. That's fine.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No problem. Just want to make sure everybody's recorded. Okay. Well, that concludes public comment. Let's move things along then. I'll just quickly put the agenda in front of me. All right. So usually we have an item here to give an opportunity for anybody to chime in on anything that should be reported to the executive board, the executive meeting. I will make sure that the executive board is aware of this event and that CB9 is aware of this event. Obviously, Mia's on, so the board knows, or the executive board and the office know. Is there anything in particular that you feel should be communicated to the board at large at this point, other than the event?
No.
Can we ask again if anybody willing to make the liaison between the youth committee? So many other people came a little late, and the education committee.
You mean here now or at the board at large?
No, I meant, I know at the beginning of the meeting, we spoke about getting someone to be a liaison between the youth committee and this committee. And some of the members of that committee did come in late. I don't know if you would like to make the request again.
Excellent point. I'll do that in one moment. Thank you. That's a great point. Anything else that the board at large needs to know at this point? If not, we'll move on from that.
I know we're going to tell them about the book giveaway in collaboration with the Ebbets Field Tenants Association or organization, forgive me.
Thank you.
Do we do we also need to, or maybe this is something for the flyer, I don't know, just to make them aware that there'll also be PPE giveaway from our council member Alika Samuel's office, and as well as giving them information about the Kingsborough opportunity with Job Corps, for that to be pushed out for the whole board to be aware of as well.
I think because it's a flea market, it lends itself to the same kind of information give out. A flea market has no theme except the time in which it's held. So I think whatever information that seems beneficial to the community, it can also be a platform for that. It doesn't have to have one consistent theme. So if you think that's good, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, it's a good point, Melanie. If anybody has any other ideas of educational information that we should prepare or make flyers of or copies of to distribute at the table, I think that's a great idea.
Riel, do you think it would benefit us, since the spelling bee is a broad event? Do you think it would be a good idea to at least give the teachers a heads up?
Well, I think it would be a good idea to have a flyer that perhaps says, coming to a Zoom screen soon, and we don't have a date yet, obviously, but perhaps we can have the CB9 Education Committee Instagram handle on it, so people can start thinking about it.
And we can have the contact information, so schools who want to participate, reach out. And if they don't hear from us too, the ones who are waiting for us, they'll know that there's a certain time limit. We want you here. And, it's kind of like a back and forth kind of thing. No?
Yeah. And perhaps something else that comes to mind is perhaps I do think we have the potential for. We have some room in this committee. We could add, one or two members. I think that's something that we discussed and I'm told at the discretion of the chair. And I think that might be a good idea.
From which committee? I'm sorry.
Sorry.
You said we do have a woman?
We do have space on the committee, so we could add additional residential committee members.
Okay.
And Mr. Cummings?
Yes, I had a question with regards to just some general information. I know that will there be at the CB9 table some information to disseminate with regards to educational social services, folk that may be having difficulties with their children at homeschooling, folks that may be looking to acquire laptops or tablets, or someone that we can put them in touch with for internet service if they can't, if they don't have internet service in their house, maybe some type of resources. There are a lot of people facing hardships regularly at home with this at-home schooling thing. And I just think the latest information, whatever that may be on the 19th, because it's changing, ever so changing daily, should probably have some information to
Yeah, I think that's this discussion. Come to think of it, I imagine there's a kind of a slew of information that the CB9 office has available that would be good to have at hand to distribute anytime. Does it make sense to just have aside from a book giveaway, to have a CB9 informational table, or is that too much?
I don't think there's, in this day and age, there's a thing as too much information. So
I would agree.
In an entire information table, if we comprise that information, and by all means, I would, and dig up anything that's available from the city to provide to the board to be able to disseminate to the residents of Ebbsfield, all comers to the fair.
Beverly, do you feel that's appropriate to have a CB9, additional CB9 table to distribute information?
sure, because a lot of people, you'd be surprised how many people in Evansville don't know that the community board is 3 blocks away. So yeah. Oh, may I also suggest, since you were talking about mental health, is it possible that a professional could be there or intermediary to help parents to guide them towards a material or a human source that they could talk to about some of the challenges? I'm speaking to the elected officials.
You're addressing Mr. Cummings?
Yes. Can he use his influence?
Mr. Cummings, did you hear that? You're on mute. You're on mute.
All right. Talking to myself. More than happy to use any connections or influence I have with regards to that. I'm going to put my email address in the chat. Please feel free to shoot me in questions or concerns, and I'll address it immediately, if not sooner, and get back to you, okay?
Okay. Because right now, just talking to some parents in this environment, they're just taking it day by day.
Sure. Is there anybody that wants to take the lead on organizing a CB9 table? Demetria has her hands full as well already on organizing the book giveaway table, where we can have it side by side with a CB9 informational table.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna help with setup, so I don't mind just putting that together, because we're already gonna have a table available to do it on. So yeah, I don't mind, like, people come with their flyers and organize it up.
Right. Yeah, Mia should be able to provide us with a lot of the information, and perhaps, I'm not sure, Mia, Khalid, if you're still on, if in a community email, if anybody wants to push out additional information as flyers or information that they want to see distributed, then we'd love to hear about it. Melanie, we could check with Mia on that.
We definitely have some educational resources available, and now we actually have the display so that we can, properly display the flyers on the table.
Okay.
And any other resources that you feel like we should have on hand that day, just give me a heads up so I can get to the office and get them printed up. Because essentially, I'm assuming the day of, I'll just make my way to the office, pick up the tables, pick up the tablecloth, and help you guys set up, and also give you guys a shift of service.
Yep.
A few hours there on the patio.
That's great. So yeah, so the 19th, so if you can pull any and all resources together, that would be helpful to distribute to the community. Then we'll be able to populate that table and get that done.
Perfect. Gotcha.
Okay, great. Circling back to Ms. Almanor's comment, there were two. There was an open spot. That was something we labeled a topic for folks to kind of keep their ear to the ground on. The youth CB9 youth liaison that did not have a committee member attached to it yet. Not all committee members were present at the time. Is there a committee member who wants to take that on as a topic to engage on themselves and keep the committee informed on? The CB9 Youth Committee Liaison.
What are the requirements again?
Well, we just need somebody who is going to take the lead on liaising with that committee and keeping, and not necessarily sitting on every meeting, but at least stay abreast of what they're working on. Perhaps look for synergies and opportunities for collaboration, and just a kind of an organized conduit, if you may, an organized connection between the Education Committee and the Youth Committee. And I imagine Primo, the chair there, I'm sure he would be happy to assign a liaison from his end as well. So there's just ongoing conversation between the committees.
Okay. That means I have two things, the spelling bee and the liaison, correct?
Okay. We'll add you.
Yeah, right?
Yes, I think that's
That's it,
correct.
right? Okay,
That's great. That's great.
thank you.
Thank you, Beverly.
You're welcome, my pleasure.
No, you know what? Let me backtrack. You have three things. You guys still need to work on an email or a needs assessment for the principals.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I'll work on that.
No. Teamwork. Tell me.
Teamwork, okay.
I just need a definitive time. What
No,
is
you
the
know,
word real
listen,
about this?
I'll reach out to you. November's been crazy.
Okay.
Get it done.
Perfect.
Yeah. And it's not like the principals have extra, are sitting around, twiddling their thumbs at the moment. Okay. Okay, final round. Is there anything else that I think we have exhausted our agenda items? Any final comments, questions, or concerns from the committee?
Yeah, I just want to mention something. I mentioned it in the chat to Naomi. I remembered when we looked at the needs assessment that there was quite a lot of concerns about the schools not having the capacity, not having the devices, not having connections, access to the internet. And that is actually a very, one of the issues that was set out as a priority. And I realized that we have been, I mean, the spelling bee and all those things are wonderful, but I'm just hoping that, or throwing out there that you might want to consider looking at that situation in terms of internet connection. I mentioned to Naomi that Microsoft actually has an open data competition right now. And in a nutshell, it involves doing a bit of research to find out what are the schools' experiences in terms of the students not having the devices and what can be done, coming up with some sort of solution. So I did put the link in the chat. And again, this, because based on the needs assessment, this is an area, and I know it's a big area, so we might tend to kind of shy away from it, but I think that this is an area that can go well with what Naomi is actually working on, and something that can be addressed either from the point of view of participating in the competition by doing the research and actually writing more grants, and be able to help at least one school or one or two schools to get them to be able to update their computer labs. Again, I'm just throwing this out because this is a
it's a Microsoft data competition?
Yes, Microsoft data competition, and it'll mean working in a team, on a team. But again, based on the needs assessments that were shared, this is a very it's a priority in terms of schools, and as we know, COVID has basically unearthed the fact that there is still a digital divide. And again, Naomi mentioned these issues of access. So I think this is something that needs to be considered. I'm going to, I can send the email to, I'm not sure who will get the email in terms of having access to the site, but I did put the sites in the
Yeah. Can you grab it? I'm looking at it.
It's a big thing. To me, it's one of those issues that really do need to be, given some attention.
It's a big topic. I wonder as far as the
big. It's really just the competition involves doing research. Research would involve talking to the schools, and we also would have access to Microsoft tools. So it's not that we're going to have to go out and find our own tools and things like that, right? I mean, some of the research we'll have to do on our own as well. But the whole thing is that it really fits well into trying to solve a lot of this internet access situation that we have faced throughout, throughout COVID, before COVID and throughout COVID. So I see both actually working together in terms of doing the research and finding out what the needs are, and at the same time, perhaps writing some kind of grant so that Microsoft or Facebook or one of those technology organizations, businesses can actually help at least one school to update its computer lab. So it seems big, but it's not really that big. But it's just something that would have to be constantly worked on. It's not something that could just be done, in one day or anything like that.
Yeah, it looks like
It's
it looks
worthwhile
like it's an
because
impressive project.
yeah, but I think it's worthwhile because it is definitely a need and it is definitely a priority.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. Let's just add it to, I think, we can start building our own list of resources as well. Is this something you want to discuss more at the next meeting, Doctor?
Yeah, but it would be good if people get a chance to look at it. And what I did actually was, because there was a deadline, I actually registered just in case there's a decision, a decision is made for us to actually work on it. So I actually registered to be on the safe side. The deadline, I think, was yesterday or today, but I did register just in case.
Yeah, I think this might be interesting for the youth committee as well, and some of their members, as well as the because they deal with some, because I can see there's been a very interesting research topic because the question is to come up with creative solutions, right? So it's a creative solution competition to address the digital divide. So you're working with Microsoft data sets and Microsoft tools, but then you have to come up with a project or plan of some kind, and I'm not sure what the prizes are, but I imagine there's money involved.
Right, there is some money involved, which we could donate to a school or whatever it is. But the whole thing is that we actually have these situations right now in our schools. I don't think a solution would be that difficult to come up with. So the information is there. The solutions are there. It's just a matter of actually reaching out to the schools and having this conversation with them about their needs in this particular area.
So why don't you keep us posted what you hear about it, and then see whether this is something that anybody's interested in participating in. I think it sounds like a very interesting topic, but also very labor intensive by the looks of it. But perhaps not. Maybe you're right. It's not as big as it seems. But I think so. Do you have to be accepted to be one of the competitors, or you can regardless? Now you signed up.
They gave some names, but I actually, as I mentioned, I did register. I'm waiting to hear from them to see what the response is.
Okay. Keep us posted.
Again, I know it seems big, but it's really not big, and it's just that to me, it is a concern. It is something that's actually a need right now. So it would be good if we can actually do some work on it. And this is long term. This is not just to happen just in one day.
It's a very interesting topic, and certainly extremely relevant right now. Yeah, great. Well, keep us posted when you hear, and then we can perhaps consider putting a group together that wants to do something about this.
Great.
Thank you.
I just want to share this in 2020. I don't know if our community acknowledges Jackie Robinson Day in a fashion in which we probably should. So correct me, please. I would want to know. But I feel that we definitely should be recognizing April 15th every year in Crown Heights. And this is an initiative I am definitely willing to help put together to make sure we have a commemorative day in our community to honor the legacy of Jackie Robinson and our community. Ebbets Field, stand up.
Is that you recommend that as an additional project? I love that idea, Melanie.
I am highly suggesting it. I will tell you that for my 42nd birthday, I am putting myself out there. I had a day where I recognized Jackie Robinson, and I honored some members of our community. I wasn't a member of the board then.
Is that also your birthday? Is that why?
It was my birthday, February 23rd, and it was my 42nd birthday. Jackie Robinson was the theme. I did a big little to do. And I really want our community to be able to make sure our children are aware of their community and what has happened right here. And I know there's bases right in Ebbets Field, which everybody is not aware of. And whether that was the original spot or not, we don't know, but it's there. and it's just rich. And I want us to recognize this day. And
I think that's a great idea, and I couldn't think of anything more appropriate for an education committee to educate the community about one of its own.
okay, motion.
So are you putting it out there to have a Jackie Robinson Day in the month of April?
Yes.
A Jackie Robinson commemoration of some kind to be determined.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I think that's a great idea to add to the list of projects for this committee to commit to. How do others feel?
The base is on the Sullivan Avenue side.
Mary, I am happy to add my list to my name to that activity, to work with you on that.
Okay.
Yeah, I love to add it. Anybody else? Is that, are we have a consensus on that? Or how do others feel? Committee members?
Oh, I agree.
Nice one.
I agree.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
Wouldn't it be cool if the spelling bee, since it's in April, one of the winning prizes would be something demonstrative with Jackie Robinson?
Hey, we could tie it all
Putting
in.
that out there.
We'll tie the whole thing together. That could be fun.
Could tie it all in.
Okay. Well, let's leave that for the planning phase.
Did
All
you say
right.
the final phase? I didn't understand. I'm sorry.
The planning phase.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Okay.
Agreed.
Great. How about a final round of comments or questions or concerns from committee members?
So we have a lot of things to do without any dates.
Yes. And I think January will be a big planning meeting for us to pin dates down and make sure all the projects are populated with committee members so we can get to work.
Okay.
Going once. Going twice. It is December, 9th today. Holiday season is upon us. Hanukkah's almost here, I think at the end of the week, right? So it's Thursday or Friday? Thursday, I believe. And of course, Christmas is around the corner as well. I wish everybody a wonderful, wonderful holiday season. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a real pleasure so far to be on this committee with you. And I look forward to seeing you on the 19th for the first official event, the book giveaway. And then we'll look forward to gathering again over Zoom, unfortunately, but we'll look forward to gathering again in January to plan out the rest of the year. Happy holidays, everybody.
Thank you. Same to you, Rio.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Happy holidays, everyone.
8:51, we're going to adjourn. Thank you very much, everybody.
Good night.
Take care and be well, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Cummings, for joining us. Thank you, Ophelia.
Thank you. Pleasure's mine. Be well, all. Thank
Be
you.
well. Thanks.